The Baltimore Ravens held a tryout for former Michigan Wolverines inside linebacker Michael Barrett yesterday. And then today, we got news that he is signed by the Baltimore Ravens. A nice little roster move for the flock. And subsequently, a move had to be addressed with some news. And that's Danny Pinter being put off the roster and obviously being put on that injured reserve list because of the torn patella tendon that he suffered in the previous joint practice against the Vikings. I'm Santino Maione, the host of the Ravens Rundown. We are brought to you by Prize Picks, and let's get into the rest of the news surrounding your Baltimore Ravens. So we had some roster news and a little move for you between Michael Barrett and Danny Pinter, and now we're going to get into the joint practice news for the rest of today's show. They had their joint practice against the Washington Commanders, who they're obviously completing their preseason against on Friday, week 3 of the preseason, meaning that we're this much closer to the actual NFL season. And there's always going to be news and rumors and updates surrounding your Baltimore Ravens, no matter what point in the season that we're at. And that's why you got to subscribe. Make sure you are subscribed to the Ravens Rundown to stay up to date on all of those things surrounding your Baltimore Ravens, for all your need-to-know information that we're here to provide for you every single day. This joint practice was, let's just say, a little, jumbled. There's a bunch of different reports we're going to get into. Something important to note, though, that Zrebiec, he noted the Ravens he didn't see dressed for practice, that including Zay Flowers and Zion Young, two of the more notable players, along with Bilal Kone, Jamon Johnson, Carl Jones, Reed Williford, and Octavian Smith. Flowers, Young, and Jones were working out, though, on an adjacent field. Now to get into that little jumbled mixed reviews kind of bag that I talked about before giving you the update on some of those injured players. There were a lot of mixed reviews from insiders, and I kind of didn't really know how to feel based off what I was seeing. This coming from Jeff Zrebiec earlier on in the day at about 11:30. Ravens offense has been a bit sharper this practice. Rashad Bateman in particular has been tough to cover for the Commanders. But then Brian Wacker, and this is per his Twitter, you're going to see here in a second, we gave you a little different look at how to present it. But he gave some other notes. Ravens first team offense hasn't been sharp at all today. The exact opposite of what Jeff Zrebiec just said. Lamar missed a wide open Bateman on a sideline out, took too long to throw, and the throw ended up being offline. So that's conflicting. Then we go back to Zrebiec about an hour and a half later at 1 p.m. I was on the Ravens offensive field, and it was a decent day. Rashad Bateman was open throughout, probably had busiest practice of the year. And Devontae Walker had that deep 60-yard pass from Lamar Jackson that was the highlight of the play. And Brian Wacker, about an hour prior to that, had said that's a wrap. Only one minor skirmish. Ravens offense was uneven, but did have some success. So, what is the takeaway here? I'm going to choose to listen to Jeff Zrebiec. He said the Ravens offense was sharp. I'm going to choose to believe that kind of just because I want to be positive, kind of just because I want to go with the positives. I've talked about on this show how I tend to be more of a positive guy than a negative one. So mixed reviews, but I say good day for the offense. Good day. Lamar Jackson had that highlight play to Devontae Walker, the 62-yard pass that obviously would have been a touchdown in a real game, but it's joint practice, so they're not really counting stuff like that. But it went to the end zone. Lamar Jackson had a very good play there. Hensley adding on that Lamar finished 19 of 26, completing over 70% of his passes. Did throw an interception in the end zone, which, all right, that's fine. We're still learning this offense, right? That's part of it. Fourth down situation, he's just trying to make something happen. So that doesn't concern me too much. Overall, a good day for Lamar Jackson. So I don't really know why Brian Wacker was saying the things that he was saying, that it didn't look sharp. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not there. I don't know what he was seeing that the other guys weren't seeing. But either way, good and bad, I think Lamar played well based on what I'm seeing, completing a lot of his passes, connecting with Rashad Bateman. Nice to see him connecting with Devontae Walker, who, with this whole Rashad Bateman situation going on, might have to be, have a larger role in 2026. I believe he will, even regardless. But just good to see that Lamar Jackson is playing well and getting more and more comfortable within this new Declan Doyle offense. And coming up, we have more joint practice storylines, despite some of the mixed reviews that we were seeing. What I can tell you, though, nobody has a mixed review on, is how good the new user offer is from our sponsors over at Prize Picks. It is utterly unbelievable. When you download the Prize Picks app and you use code HMA and play your first $5 lineup, if it wins, you get $150 in bonus lineups. There are no mixed reviews about getting some extra cash because Prize Picks is America's #1 sports picks app for all your daily fantasy sports. Player picks, guys, they're on fire right now and always, and there's no better place to cash in while watching sports than with Prize Picks. It's available in most states, including California, Texas, and Florida, just to name a few. And guys, the app is super easy to use. It's really why I love it so much. They make it so simple. You just pick more or less on a few player stats, and you lock in your lineup. With the social feeds feature, you can follow your friends, share lineups with each other, or explore your favorite celebrities' lineups, a lineup like you see on screen right now. I created this lineup for the football season. It's a season-long projection. Derrick Henry, your very own Ravens running back, the more on his rushing yards, the more on Bijan Robinson, and the more on Jahmyr Gibbs, 3 of the best running backs in the league. That is a $20 lineup to win $120. But guess what, guys? If you hate that lineup, if you think it sucks, that's fine. Just make sure that you prove your ball knowledge and place a lineup with Prize Picks. And before you do, use that code HMA, because you might as well play your first $5 lineup with the code and then get a chance to win $150 in bonus lineups. That's right. Prize Picks switching up their offer. And the offer is as stated one more time. Download the Prize Picks app. Use code HMA. Play that first $5 lineup. And if it wins, you get $150 in bonus lineups. Thank you so much to Prize Picks for sponsoring this edition of the Ravens Rundown. And now we have the stars of the day on defense. Trey Hendrickson and Kyle Hamilton. Wow. What a shocker. I mean, right? We know these are the 2 best defensive players on that side of the ball. Bringing in Hendrickson was a great move. This is a guy that had 30 sacks over a span of 2 seasons. Kyle Hamilton's the best safety in the NFL, and he showcased that great ability on this pass deflection. It was a ball thrown by Jaden Daniels by 5. If you know, you know, you get the joke. Kyle Hamilton, then I kind of made it look like he picked him off. He didn't secure this ball, but he skied up there to knock that pass down, to deflect it. We can't show video, obviously, because of copyright reasons. But Kyle Hamilton, I mean, great to see the guy making a play at that safety spot. We've talked about on a previous show how important Kyle Hamilton is to the success of this defense. But somebody else who's going to be very important is Trey Hendrickson. He spoke after practice and kind of gave an update on where Baltimore's defensive identity lies at this moment in time, saying fundamentally, one step at a time, we're trying to set edges. Setting edges and playing with a physical edge. I think we're doing a good job embodying what our identity is going to be. We haven't really cut it loose yet, so it's kind of a week in, week out situation of just brick by brick, building the foundational pillars of what we want to be. And not only, we know he's a good player, right? I think hearing Trey Hendrickson say this kind of falls in line with what we've heard about him from, defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver on this team, what we've heard just from coaches in general about the leadership that he provides you. And again, I mentioned this earlier, 30 sacks over the last 2 healthy seasons that he had. When he played all 17 games, the guy was an absolute animal. 25 plus QB hits on both of those years. Like Trey Hendrickson, he forces fumbles too. He makes these plays on the field. We know what he can do when he's fully healthy, knock on wood. But again, it's the leadership. He is a great leader. I remember, earlier on in training camp, they talked about how Hendrickson, he's already an established player, right? He doesn't need to necessarily prove anything. He doesn't need to be showing up to practice early. He doesn't have to be the first one in the building anymore, but he still chooses to do so because that's the kind of player Trey Hendrickson is. That's the kind of example that he sets for these younger players and just the team as a whole. And I truly do believe that the leadership coupled with what he can do on a football field as a pass rusher, he's going to be great on this defense, no doubt in my mind. And somebody else that is going to be great, Jacoby Lane and Lamar Jackson, both of them. Lamar Jackson spoke on Jacoby Lane after the joint practice. And dude, you know how excited I get about Jacoby Lane. Maybe a little bit too much for some of you. But what Lamar Jackson said after the practice, I mean, I was just gushing. I could just put up the quote, man. I got to read this to you. Lamar Jackson, it's easy to throw to him. He's an easy target. He's a big guy, like 6'4", 6'5", not 6'7", but 6'4", 6'5". And he can catch the ball with the best of them. I told y'all, my comparison is, pause for dramatic effect, Odell Beckham Jr. and DeAndre Hopkins with the hands. Guys, these are two players that have some of the surest hands in NFL history. When you put the ball, when these two guys were in their prime, like the best they've been, you put the ball in their vicinity, they're coming down with it. The kind of mitts they have and the ability to bring that ball in, the catch radius, The focus that it takes to do that? You're comparing Jacoby Lane? Not just you're comparing. Lamar Jackson is comparing that to DeAndre Hopkins and OBJ. And oh, by the way, did we forget who Declan Doyle compared him to earlier in training camp, before the preseason began, before the joint practices began? Oh yeah, Michael Thomas, a player that's led the NFL in receiving yards in a single season. Jacoby Lane is going to be absolutely disgusting if this is what we're hearing. I don't believe that people are just going to talk out of their you-know-whats just to say things. Lamar Jackson's not going to hype somebody up for no reason. And if he's not going to, then I'm not going to do it either. I'm hyping him up because we're hearing it from the horses' mouths. If you believe Jacoby Lane is going to meet these expectations in the same way that I do, type Y for yes. If you disagree, you can type N for no. I'll disagree with you in the comments. I'm disagreeing with you right now as you're actively typing it. But hey, you can type it. That'll be the pinned comment on today's video. Please get down in the comments so I can argue with you if you say no, because I'm just going to disagree with you. Because Lane's already made crazy catches. Lane's already proving this, I guess, proving them right, proving what they're saying right. His actions are backing up their words. Because this isn't Jacoby Lane like talking out of his you-know-what and just like saying this stuff just because. He's getting this from other people, and yet he still continues to show up to practice every single day, to do what he needs to do, to make these crazy plays. This guy had a ball behind him, and he bro, what are we talking about, dude? This is a guy that is clearly set up for success in this Ravens offense, and all of this is just more evidence that he's going to be a top-tier wide receiver in the NFL. Maybe not year one, right? I won't get crazy and sit here and say, Jacoby Lane guaranteed to be the best receiver in the NFL, year one. No. But you're going to tell me 2-3 years down the line with Lamar Jackson as his quarterback in an offense that's set up in the way that it is with Declan Doyle to provide or to produce explosive plays, you're going to tell me that a 6'4", 6'5" wide receiver you can move around the field, he can go up and get balls over corners that are smaller than him, he can make plays over the middle of the field as that big body Lamar Jackson's talking about, you're going to tell me he can't be a top-tier wide receiver? If you tell me that, you don't know ball. I'm sorry. That's just my take on the situation. Cannot wait to watch Jacoby Lane in the regular season. And if you want to see clips of me reacting to Jacoby Lane's touchdowns, make sure you follow me on Instagram and X, at Ravens Rundown IG, at Santino_Maione. You'll get a lot more Ravens content outside of the videos in YouTube if you follow me right here. Thank you guys for watching this edition of the Ravens Rundown, and I will see all of you, Flock Nation, in the next one.